Hi, I'm Tanya from Time and Space Solutions, and today I want to talk to you about anxiety. We all face it at one time or another in our lives, and the thing is, it's really important to know, well, when does it cross that point where it becomes too much? Today in our culture, and I talk about this a lot, it's all about quick fixes, not getting to the root of the problem, avoiding things, instead of actually experiencing life fully, which includes feeling. And anxiety is actually a form of not feeling and going straight to our minds, which our thinking culture supports. So, the ways that people avoid anxiety is one, they just literally avoid it and shove it down, which actually makes it worse. They try to control their life. And the issue is that it's being seen as a problem in our culture, which then needs to be solved, and we just look at the symptoms instead of getting to the root of the problem of what is our anxiety actually telling us. Because the thing is, our anxiety is actually a gift. It's a gift for us to look within and see, well, what is it that I'm feeling? What is this fear all about? Is it that I'm not good enough? Is it that I'm afraid I'm going to be judged? What is that fear? It's taking that time and asking yourself that, and then exploring it and unpacking it. Whereas if, we just look at it as a problem, we tend to do these quick fixes and then we keep on going, and then it never goes away. So I want to offer a new perspective to anxiety, and I'll put the reference in the comment section of the book where I got it from. Fantastic book on anxiety. And it looks at anxiety in 4 new lenses, where approaching it means approaching it from curiosity. And I always tell clients, and when I do workshops, look at your feelings and emotions as information. What is it telling you? What's your body telling you? So 1, approach it with curiosity. What is this anxiety telling me? What am I feeling? How am I different than I was before? How am I approaching the situation different than before? Then, when you're doing that, make sure you do it with the second lens, and that's through the lens of compassion. No judgment. I heard this term for so many years. No judgment, don't judge, do it with compassion and empathy towards yourself. And I'm getting it more and more now, because it just means observing the situation and going, okay, that makes sense that you're feeling this way. These things happen to you. Now it's all right. And now that now that you're aware, now you can do something about it. Instead of just beating yourself up and being judgmental for feeling the things you feel and believing the things you believe. The third one is stillness, because in order to get to that internal place, we need to be still. And again, many people are running on flight mode, which means they're in high speed and they don't slow down enough to actually feel. And so you can't do this internal work unless you slow down, stop, feel, tune into your body, tune into what's going on, noticing your thoughts, to be able to catch what those patterns are and what the messages are. And then the last one is, well, once you've gone through this process of, being curious, coming with an angle of compassion, and then just being still to actually experience and gain that knowledge and insight, well, now be grateful, because you just opened up a Pandora box of insight that is going to help you transform instead of making you run away from your anxiety and your fears. And I can understand why people do that, because we do live in a culture that is constantly telling us that there's something wrong with us. You need to buy this, you need to do this, you need to be this. And because we're overloaded with that messaging, we feel that we have to change things about us that we actually don't. And then we miss those parts of us that we could transform and that we could change, that are more of value, that allow us to live a more meaningful, deep life. So how do you know when you've kind of crossed over that tipping point of normal anxiety to, oh, this is too much? Well, normal anxiety looks like, new situation, you're feeling a little nervous. Oh, I got a new job. Okay, I don't know what it's going to be like. What am I going to do? Who am I going to talk to? That's normal. That is normal anxiety, because you're in a new situation. You need to use problem solving and critical thinking because it's a new situation. Totally fine. It's when it takes over, when you start feeling anxiety for no reason. It's when you can't cope with day-to-day actions and things that you have to do. It's when you start changing your behaviors to avoid a situation. Those are a few red flags, and I'll put more in the comment section below. And so when it starts to take over, we're actually looking at a situation and fearing it more than what is proportionate to the situation. So for example, I have to use an elevator, I live in a building, and me being afraid that the elevator is going to get stuck. The chances of that happening are extremely rare. However, I am so afraid to even go near it that I'm taking the stairs. So that fear is out of proportion with the situation and the likelihood of that fear happening. And so if you're noticing that happening, remember that the more you avoid it, the worse it's going to get. Because the brain goes, oh, I avoided it, I'm safe now. So anytime you go near that situation, it's going to make you more afraid. And so that's where I invite you to kind of sit down and do an inventory. Do that 4-lens process. And even before that, you can go through a process of just kind of taking an inventory. Okay, I'm noticing that, my anxiety is getting out of hand. What has changed? Ask yourself that. How have my behaviors changed? What has changed situationally in my environment? How am I changing my day-to-day life? Is my socializing changing? How am I feeling physically, emotionally, spiritually? What are my intrusive thoughts that keep on repeating? And just trying to take an inventory and see what comes up. And then with that information, it would be great to do that process of being curious, coming with compassion, and being still and meditating on that information that you gathered, and then finding out what insight that you gathered and what belief is there that needs to transform, that's holding you back and making you afraid. Because at the end of the day, our fears block us from living our truest, most fulfillest, highest selves. And if you keep on avoiding it, it's just going to keep you trapped and feeling suffocated and really just in a place where you are not empowered, in a place where you cannot be you. And that's not a way to live life, and where you're trying to control yourself and where you're trying to control others. So there's no shame in that. We all experience it at some point in our lives, some more than others. And so it's really up to you to take that choice and to make that decision to sit down and go, okay, you know what, enough is enough. I need to do something about this. So I'll leave the process in the comment section, and you can also check out the blog that gives it in detail. And stay tuned, because I do want to do a few other videos about anxiety and just more information about it and more processes that you can do to use it as a way to grow and to transform. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.